Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to another movie review, and today I am going to be reviewing 12 Angry Men. This movie is directed by Sidney Lumet. I apologize if I butchered the pronunciation of that man's name. Anyways, this movie stars Henry Fonda and 11 other guys, and this movie is about a murder case in which an 18-year-old guy is accused of murdering his father, and a jury of 12 angry men is appointed to decide this guy's guilt or innocence. And at the beginning of the movie, 11 out of these 12 men, or 12 jurors, think this guy is guilty. There's absolutely no question about it. However, at the beginning of the movie, one juror, being juror number 8, played by Henry Fonda, simply thinks this guy may be innocent, and throughout the course of this 90-minute movie, he manages to convince every single one of the other jurors otherwise of what they originally thought in court. And yes, I do know that this sounds like a very boring movie, and it looks pretty boring when you describe it to someone. Hey, yeah, this is basically a movie about 12 guys talking in one room for 90 minutes. But it's really good. 12 Angry Men is not only one of the greatest movies ever made, it's one of my all-time favorite films, so let's get right into this thing. First off, let's start by talking about the acting. Wow, Henry Fonda and everybody else in this movie, they're all so great. I don't even know how they were so great in this movie, but I guess they're actors and they do a good job of what they do. And I think one of the things that makes the acting in this movie so good is the fact that these actors are actually playing very natural and laid-back roles. They're not playing some big movie star character. You know what I'm talking about, those characters that are only in movies and they're not actual people that you could meet in real life. All these guys feel like real men. They all have jobs, they all have backgrounds, they all have issues in their personal lives, and they feel like people that you could actually meet in public. Another big positive in this movie is the direction and the writing. Oh my goodness, Sidney Lumet, how did you do it? This was Sidney Lumet's first movie. This was his first movie. How do you do that? His direction for this movie was so good. It made it so intense, and it made it even more realistic. And I think you can really see the style of his direction, not so much in his actors, but in the cinematography. The cinematography in this movie is gorgeous. And again, it's not like these are big movie star characters going on some amazing adventure in all these fantastical fantasy worlds. Sidney Lumet only had a room to work with in this movie, and the cinematography is magical, it's magnetic, and it's so good. You're watching this movie and you're like, wow, this shot is not cutting. This is one continuous shot. This is one camera setup. I respect you, Sidney Lumet. Nowadays, filmmakers feel the urge to cut every 2 seconds when the camera does not need to cut every 2 seconds. If you really like good cinematography like I do, you will love this movie because the cinematography in this movie is swift, it's efficient, yet it's really stylistic, and I think that's a definite plus that this movie has going for it. The overall writing, and more specifically the dialogue in this movie, is all great, and I think I can give the dialogue in this movie a compliment that I often can't give dialogue in a lot of other films. The dialogue in this movie does not feel like dialogue. It feels like these guys in this movie, who actually feel like real people, are making it up on the spot, and I like that. This feels like in no way a production. This feels completely real. And the characters in this movie are so well developed, and it's not because they directly tell you certain things about themselves. It's because you get to know them through these long conversations. You get to know their backgrounds, their worldviews, their problems. You get to know so much more about them through this court case and the way they talk about this court case than you would if they just told you everything about themselves. And ladies and gentlemen, that's just great writing right there. This movie is so intense. It starts off and it's a little weird, it's a little slow. You're like, okay, what's happening here? But then the movie really kicks in and the dialogue starts and you learn more and more and more about this court case, and it just gets better and better and better and more intense, and you feel this pressure, this heat, this tension that's building in the room, and it's just so good. Movies just aren't made like this anymore. I think people have forgotten that people can be just as entertained watching an action movie than they can while watching a talkie, and it's really commendable. And by the end of the movie, you just want to go back and rewatch the movie again, because there's always little things that you can latch onto that you didn't latch onto before. And I think it's a movie that gets better each time you watch it, and that's a really hard thing for a movie to do, believe it or not. All in all, guys, 12 Angry Men is a perfect film. I don't care if you say that this movie has flaws. I don't care if you think this movie is boring. This movie is perfect in my opinion. The direction, the writing, the acting, the characterization, the dialogue, the cinematography, the story, everything in this movie comes to a perfect head, and it's just so great. It's one of the greatest films of all time. It's one of my all-time favorite movies, and I'm gonna give 12 Angry Men a 10 out of 10. There's no reason why I shouldn't give this movie a 10 out of 10. And that does it for my movie review for 12 Angry Men. Next time I am going to be reviewing Back to the Future, a movie that I am very excited to see again, and a movie that I'm very pumped to review. So yeah, look forward to that. And I will see you guys later. Goodbye.